Hi, my name is Lee Markham. I sing tenor with the Heralds of Harmony, a barbershop chorus located in Tampa, Florida. And since we're all under quarantine right now, I thought now would be a great time to chat with some of my fellow heralds, find out how they got involved with barbershop, and why it's great to be a herald. Enjoy!
Mike Cross, how you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How's the quarantine life treating you?
Oh, it's going.
What have you been doing to keep busy?
So my son just turned 2 at the end of May, so there's been a lot of that.
Birthday
Trying
party
to,
planning?
yeah, we did a what they do now, which I guess is just we had like a parade basically. So everyone drove by my in-laws' house and honked their horns and played music and kind of that quarantine 6 feet away birthday
Yeah,
type deal. So
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. For
yeah,
everyone watching, Mike Cross sings lead in the Heralds of Harmony, and I don't know how you got your start with barbershop. When did it start for you? Because your dad is a
yeah,
barbershopper, which we'll get into in just a second. But
yeah. So I mean, like you said, I basically grew up around barbershop. My dad's been doing it as long as I can remember. I think he's going on like 28 years or something. And so I grew up in Ottawa, Canada. So I pretty much grew up around the Capital City Chorus, which is based out of Ottawa, Canada. And I just grew up around him. I was a very shy and timid kid, if you could imagine that. But I basically didn't get into it at all until we moved to Florida, and I joined. I actually was basically put onto a charter of a brand new chorus because you need a certain number of people to join in order to make the charter. So they said, grab all your friends, family, and put them on this charter. And I was 12 at the time. So that's when I ended up joining. And instead of just sitting watching, I hopped up there and joined along.
yeah, and well, it's funny that you say you were the shy kid because your role with the chorus is welcoming any guests that we have come in and making them feel welcome. And Mike is we could have two guests on the riser. We could have 18 guests. He'll know their first, their last name, where they came from, their dog's name, their favorite color. So do you think maybe it was because you were a shy kid and kind of coming out on the other side of that when you get these new guys coming to the chorus for one night or for 5 nights, whenever, or they become new members, do you think that's why you took on that responsibility of I want to welcome in the new guys?
Yeah, I think so. It's funny because whenever people ask me about it, I actually inherited this from my dad, which is quite the opposite. We are very much known for meeting somebody and then right away being like, what's their name? Who was that? So when I took this position on the board 3 years ago, I pretty much said to myself, I'm going to try and reverse that and try and remember folks' names and make them feel extra welcome. And so for me, it was a personal thing. And then very quickly, it turned into something that the chorus always, every Monday night, would kind of test me to make sure I knew everyone. So then it became kind of a game. So it kind of expanded from there.
Yeah, and I don't think we've stumped you yet, as far as I've known.
Yeah, it's
Pretty on
been
top of
it.
it.
Yeah,
Well, and I know I've belonged to this is my third chorus now, or fourth actually. It is intimidating to come in the first time and you don't know anybody. Maybe, and especially with names like Roger Ross and Tony DeRosa and your dad and um, Bruce Cocroft, all the big names in barbershop. You see these guys and go, oh, geez, and that might make you kind of withdraw into yourself a little bit more. But that's why it's great to have somebody come up. Hey, what's your name? How, just immediately welcoming you in.
yeah, for sure. And we definitely have a lot of good folks that help me out on that, and you being one of them. We have a good team to kind of welcome people at the door and make them feel welcome, sing tags with them, and I think it's kind of helped with this little boom of young folks. It's weird to say that because I'm not that old myself, but young folks to join the chorus, and it's just been growing ever since.
Yeah, and all the Heralds guys, especially doing these interviews and getting to talk to these guys, everybody's just so nice.
Yeah.
There's It's a great group of guys. And now your dad sings lead, and so was lead always the path for you, or did you ever experiment with any of the other parts?
Yeah, so I mean, lead was kind of the path for me because, like my dad, we don't read music. So it was pretty much we just learned from hearing. And that obviously is kind of the easiest part to hear. But I have done a few songs in the chorus and even in contest on tenor. So I have gone between the two, but for the most part, it has been lead.
Yeah, and speaking of your dad, so you are our current barbershopper of the year, which we had that nice dinner several months back, and your dad was the previous barbershopper of the year, so he got to hand that title off to
It
you.
was actually the opposite,
There's an
but
opposite. I
yes.
can't remember. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right. You got to give it to your dad. So, and even though you're father and son, Tony has nicknamed you guys the Cross Brothers, which is
Yeah.
great. And now, like you said before, you have a son, so there's a third generation cross. Do we see barbershop in his future, do you think?
I definitely think so. Since we're doing this virtually now, our rehearsals, I do my warm-ups while he's still awake. So the other night we were doing some warm-ups and he actually started singing along with me, and we got that on film and sent it over to Tony and a few guys. And
Your turn.
so I definitely hope to get him in there. I'm not going to push him or anything, but like you said, I think it's a great thing to grow up around. I think I'm actually a third generation. My dad's father was in barbershop a little bit. So he would potentially be a fourth generation, which would be really cool. And he seems to be into music and singing already. So I definitely hope, and that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, get all the cross boys on the risers just whenever we can meet in person again. He might be old enough by the time this quarantine's over that we'll be able
Yeah,
to do it in
that's
person.
true. I hope not, but it's true.
I hope not either. Now you said obviously not putting any pressure on your son. Did your dad ever kind of, hey, come to rehearsal, or did he kind of let you find your own way?
Yeah, he pretty much just let me find my own way. I definitely never felt pressure when I was growing up. I don't think it ever really came up until we moved here, and I was added to that charter, and then I pretty much was joined at the hip at my dad. So wherever he stood, I stood, and it was kind of one of those things where I slowly gained confidence as I went, but I was definitely next to him, but he never pushed me or anything.
That's great. Yeah, well, and I don't see him being that way because, like you, he's just a nice guy. And now we were supposed to have our 75th anniversary show in May, big blowout show. We were all super excited about it. All this craziness happened, and we said, all right, we'll postpone it till August. And now it's still happening, so we're postponing it till next spring. Fingers crossed that it even happens then. And if you haven't seen the Heralds page lately, go on there because you designed our 75th anniversary logo, which is really cool. And we had T-shirts made of that. So if you want to help bring some money into the chorus, buy a Herald's 75th anniversary T-shirts. I already got mine. I'm really excited. Until I got the email that said it's coming in like July or something. I'm like, well, I want it now. This was like 2 weeks ago. So I'm ready for it now. So obviously you're a big part of this chorus. So what does it mean to you to be at these rehearsals every Monday night and to be on the risers with your dad every week?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you can't really explain it. I grew up in other choruses, but I've always been in the Sunshine District, and I always admired the Heralds, how they handled themselves at contests, how they always beat us, how they were just the top of the class, and I think that still hasn't changed. So to be part of a chorus that has so much history and like most of your interviewees say, having Tony in front of us every night is not only as a director, but just as a friend. I mean, he constantly is checking in on folks and checking in on me, and we just chat. So, but like you said, the best part of it is obviously singing with my dad every night. As I as I get older, we don't live together anymore. We don't drive to rehearsals anymore. We see each other a few times a week for dinner. So those Monday nights, I definitely look forward to those. And as he walks in the door, just say hi, give him a hug. And so it's definitely the best part. And I wouldn't really change it for anything.
Yeah. And well, you'll be able to pass on that driving to rehearsal tradition, hopefully, with your son when he's ready to go. And yeah, I understand what you mean. It's that same feeling. We're not walking in the doors anymore, but every Monday night when all those faces pop up on Zoom, it's like a family reunion every Monday. So it's great to see you.
For sure.
And it's great to see you. Great to talk to you and ask about your history with barbershop. So thanks so much for taking the time.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this, man. It's awesome.
Of course, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.